Hello, this is Amir from lowcarbmaster.com, and today I'm here with Sin. Sin, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Sin. I do strength and conditioning. I'm also in the physical therapy field. I help individuals get stronger, faster. Also do group instruction for a boot camp class for a gym out in Manhasset.
Awesome. So quick question. In your opinion, what's the most important part of exercising?
Most important part, I mean, as far as the benefit or like the actual exercising?
Well, let's say somebody comes to you for the first time and they haven't had any experience with exercising. What would be your advice to somebody that's a total beginner?
Total beginner. I would say work on the basics, the foundation. Work on strength, not just strength as in contractile force, but also strength as in tensile strength of the ligaments, of the tendons, neurological strength, overall. Just basic overall strength first.
So work on strength first?
Yes, because from there, everything you build upon it, that's when you can start doing more explosive exercises, more intense movements that tax the body more. So you need to get a solid foundation. That's my philosophy.
Okay. Strength. Would you say body weight, free weight, machines? What's your take on that?
It's really relative to what you're training for, but for like generally, I would tell people to do free weight mixing with body weight. Free weight, definitely do structural exercises. So something like deadlifts, overhand, standing overhead press would be more beneficial than like standing bicep curls in a squat rack.
In a squat rack, yeah,
in the squat rack.
You do see that a lot in the gyms these days.
Yeah, that's the best way to tell the whole gym that you don't know what you're doing, pretty much. So and body weight, it's some activities, some sports require you to use your body in certain ways, gymnastics, for example. So for those guys, then definitely emphasize on body weight strength.
Awesome. Yeah, that tip right there will help plenty of people that are just going to the gym and look at the person next to them and say, hey, you know what, let me just do what he's doing. And they don't realize that they may be doing different things than what they need. Alright?
Yeah. I always tell people, like, just because you see something being done in the gym doesn't mean it's the right thing.
Right.
Just because person A does something doesn't mean it's going to carry over to you, because you guys have different goals, different type of training. Actually, I think most of the things I see, at least in like a commercial gym, it's I don't want to say BS, but they're wasting their time doing it.
It's a lot of filler stuff they do, and it's just...
Yes, lots of filler stuff, because it occupies them. The reason why those commercial gyms have lots of machines, because it's very safe for the people to use. Less liability, less insurance. People like them, they see the machines, it's fancy, so they do them, and they just keep coming back. But quite honestly, you don't need all that stuff to get a good workout.
Awesome, that leads me to my next question. Now, machines and free weights. What do you think, which one would you prefer and why? Is there advantage to one over the other?
Definitely free weights, just because you work so many more aspects as opposed to machines. You work on stability, control, especially with joints, more neurologically intensive. Machines, it has its purpose, but it's very specific. I think people should emphasize more on free weights and less on machines. Unfortunately, what's happening right now in reality, more people emphasize on machines over free weights.
So, is it because they think it's easier?
yeah, it's very easy, convenient. They see other people doing it, and yeah, and they think that they could get the results just like that with machines as opposed to doing free weights. And they see free weights, they find it daunting. You know, they see like just a weight there, like what am I supposed to do? Am I doing it right? You know, and their fear of getting injured. That's why I think that's another reason why people stay away from free weights and go towards straight to the machine where instructions right there. They say instructions, what muscles are there, just move it one way, and your chest is done.
True. Yeah, they definitely. There's no way you can deviate from what you're supposed to do on a machine.
No.
Yeah.
No, you can't do a machine and fall off.
You're just restricted to the motion it gives you.
Exactly. You see it there, even have a seatbelt just to make sure you don't fall off. You know, just in case you do those crunches, you know, it's like you collapse on those crunches.
Oh man, that leads me to the next thing actually. The myths of resistance training. There's a lot out there, you know, you got a lot of people in the gym talking about, 5-day splits and doing this versus that and, don't eat this, don't eat that. There's a lot of myths and popular misconceptions about the gym. For example, one of them, women are afraid to, do free weights and heavy resistance because they think, they're going to end up looking like a bodybuilder or grow mustaches and stuff like that. So, can you go into a little bit about the myths and why they're embarrassing?
Yeah, we'll touch on what you just mentioned about ladies getting big with weights. It's virtually impossible unless they're freak of nature and they have the hormones, they have the genetic potential to have guy muscles, which I've never seen a lady, unless they have gear injecting themselves with that special sauce. That's what you see with most, if not all, professional female bodybuilders. They need to be on that source to get that big. But no, the average lady would not look like that at all. Actually, they're gonna look really, really great. If you see like the physique fitness models, are they like really toned and lean? They do weights. It's not from aerobics, it's not from running, it's not from freaking P90X. Even though they make it sound like, look like it's no weights.
Wait, so all those that tell you that they ride, they do elliptical or they jog or all that stuff, it's weights. That's what gets them optimally in that
shape. Look, that figure you seen in fitness magazines like Oxygen, those late magazines. Those are from weights, resistance training.
Oh, interesting. That'll help out a lot of ladies out there that are just afraid of the gym because they think if they pick up a dumbbell, they're just gonna get that veiny biceps. Yeah. That's very interesting. Next thing, what do you think? What's your output on the importance of rest during exercise? Because a lot of people 6-7 days a week to the gym, constantly. Like one day they'll do bicep curls, the next day they'll be doing pull-ups, the next day, so they're just going every day to the gym. How do you feel about rest and why it's important?
Rest, very important. Should be emphasized just as much as the workout and the diet, because that's when you get stronger, when you rest, when your body recuperates. When you work out, you actually get weaker, you turn your body down. Some people don't realize that they think they're getting stronger, and that's why they go to the gym and go all out, because their muscles getting bigger on the spine and all that, but that's because you're getting the pump and the blood and all that, but you're really causing microtron to your body, which you want if you want to adapt and get stronger. But for you to get stronger, you need to eat, you need to intake the nutrients, the adequate amount of nutrients for you to recover. Now you have the nutrients in your body, now you need to recover, and that's the resting part. So your body takes the nutrients, repairs the damage, adapts, yada yada yada, prepare you for the next workout. So rest is just as important as the other workout and rest.
Most definitely. Muscle. A lot of people are very interested in that. Is there a difference in training for strictly aesthetics, gaining muscle, for sports performance, and for strength? Is there a difference, and what are the major differences?
For aesthetics, usually people want to go for hypertrophy. You want the muscles looking bigger. So this is just going by from what I read. I can't say from personal experience because I never work out for aesthetics. I never really want to put lots of volume on the muscle, lots of tension, so the muscle would adapt. Isolations, lots of repetitive boring stuff. That's it. But that's the truth. You see like a typical bodybuilder routine. You'll have like 3, 4, 5 target exercises for one body part for biceps.
Wow,
like different exercise, different. You would go from free weights to machines and like different angles and. That's not my forte, but I'm just telling you like what I've seen and what I've observed for people that's training for the look.
Gotcha.
As far as performance, looks are secondary. Performance is they use the specificity principle, meaning you train that specific to what you're training for as possible. So, for example, for like the basketball player, that guy wants to dunk. So he wants to work on jumping.
Gotcha.
So to work on that, you need to work on explosiveness. Because for you to jump high, you need power. You apply all that strength in a short amount of time, that boom.
So that's different. So you're saying that if you're training for, say, aesthetics, and they are getting stronger, am I right?
Yes.
But that does not translate over to the sports. So if you're training for aesthetics, it won't translate over as good for sports or performance.
Most likely not, but it depends on what you're training, what you're using to train. For example, like someone training for aesthetics could be incorporating squats into routines as well.
Gotcha.
Squats will help them with the jump because that's some strength. Maybe you would even do some cleans. Sure. But if that guy doesn't do squats, all he does is like leg press, leg extension in the machine, calf raises, isolation stuff, it's not going to really carry over. He wants to play basketball, he wants to go dunk.
So what about when I hear people say, getting all that muscle, lifting weights, build muscle and slow you down. Is there any truth to that?
It really depends on what you're training for. For example, like a football player.
Yeah.
They could afford that increase in size, that mass, because that increase in mass will help him propel himself and help them apply more force. And because he has that more mass, it's harder for the defender to take him down. He has that mass traveling, and with that increased force and speed, with that mass, it'll be more benefit for him to get big. But for someone like a gymnast, he don't want his body to be too heavy, especially his legs, because of certain moves that he needs to be light. The flips, certain moves on the bar, on the rings, like a plank. He needs the legs to be light, arms to be strong, but not heavy, because that'll bring him down. Bring him up in the ring.
That makes so much sense.
So it's really relative. It's all about training specifically for what your sport or what your activities, what you want to master.
That clears up a lot of things. Leads me to the next question, which is fast twitch muscle fibers, slow twitch muscle fibers. The difference. What are the differences?
Slow twitch is pretty much the muscles that's there for endurance, that rely on more oxygen as an energy source. Because it relies on oxygen, you can contract it, keep contracting. As opposed to fast twitch, which is more with the ATP and the glycogen energy system. Can't contract it as much as slow twitch, but then contract it very fast when you need it, anaerobically, explode, you need to lift something up really fast, punch someone, whatever. That's when you need the fast twitch.
So would you train different for gaining specific muscle types, fast twitch, slow twitch?
Yeah, definitely. Going back to the principle of specificity, let's say someone who's a endurance runner, definitely more slow twitch, because he needs to go on that long distance run. He's gonna need to work on his aerobic system, so you incorporate as much oxygen as possible for his body to process, get the Krebs cycle. You really utilize the slow twitch muscle fibers. Fast twitch, more for like a sprinter. Needs that explosion, that boom. And sprinters, they could actually like sprint without even breathing, holding the breath and sprint.
Wow.
Just because fast twitch, you don't need oxygen. Glycogen storage, ATP first, and then glycogen, they're going further down the road.
Well, they must be good swimmers then.
Yeah, like, well, it depends on if they're swimming for speed or they're, endurance swimmer. Same thing with swimming.
Well, that's pretty cool. I did not know that. So, high intensity interval training, or high intensity cardio versus steady state cardio. What is your opinion on that and using it for sports? For example, there's some sports that are not necessarily long distance sports, or they don't focus on one but they use the other. Like for example, would it be advisable for a marathon runner to be doing sprints, or would it be better for them to be sort of doing their normal jogging routine? It goes back to specificity.
Gotcha.
But in general, for somebody that's trying doing general exercise, what would you recommend? Slow, steady state cardio, or high intensity? Anaerobic, aerobic? What's your views on both?
I would say it depends on the fitness level right now. If they're really deconditioned, I would say neither one, just because their heart will be taxed. You don't want to risk touching the heart anyway, just in case you don't want any give them a heart attack, pretty much, basically. So I would say first stick to resistance training, work on strength, but do it in a circuit type of way.
Oh, okay.
And that's cardio right there. That attacks the heart, but not as much as doing cardio.
Okay.
Once they get better, then I would say do slow steady state cardio. Work on the heart for doing the high intensity cardio.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Start slow, crawl before you walk.
Exactly. Pretty much for someone that's deconditioned. But going back to what you're saying, like what I have, like an endurance runner do sprints, that type of. I read that endurance athletes actually benefited from doing resistance type of training, high intensity, but athletes that need that explosiveness, like sprinters, they actually lose performance when they incorporate endurance training to their.
Really?
Yeah.
So if I'm a sprinter and I'm jogging like 3-4 miles every morning,
Right.
I'll actually lose
Yes.
my performance.
Yes, you're better off using that time to work on specifically explosion, technique, power stuff, all that strength training.
That's good to know. I don't want to, I'm not really a sprinter, but it's good to know that something that you think you're doing good for yourself can actually hinder your performance.
Right. So don't think like I need to do everything. I need to do this. I need to do that. Like some people come up to me like, oh, what should I do? This, should I do that? And do that. No, just look at what you're training for and go from there.
Interesting. So, jump roping, would you say that's steady state or that's high intensity?
it's up to you. You could do a steady state, monotonous, boom, 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 or run in place, boom, 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 double unders. That's high intensity. So you could.
So same thing with swimming, right?
Same thing with swimming. You can modulate it according to what you want to do. And there's overlaps. Not always like, oh, now I'm in the Krebs cycle. No, I'm using oxygen. No, it's always an overlap of you're gonna use oxygen and you're gonna use some glycogen. And then when you get to the state where you're swimming more, you're tapping into your glycogen storage, but then you're still breathing. You're still using some oxygen. It's not black and white.
So you mix it up basically.
It's a gradient. It's a mixture, but then you have two ends. It's more of this, more of oxygen, and then more of the glycogen, ATP.
So you're basically working out the whole thing. You're basically using
all the energy system.
Nice.
It's just a matter of what you're doing that taps into what more.
I like that. What is plyometrics?
It's pretty much working on how fast your muscle contracts on a rebound, on a stretch. And that's beneficial for things like jumping, exploding off the line, things that you need to apply power really fast.
So, are weights incorporated in that, or just body weight type stuff?
You could incorporate weights with plyometrics, like you have a weighted vest while you're doing depth jumps. You do clean and presses, cleans, snatches. That's plyometrics. You do like a hang, dip, and then lift it up. It's plyometrics.
Okay. Now, say I don't know anything about exercise and I want to pick out a gym, right? What should I be looking for? Should I go to Gold's, Planet Fitness, LA Fitness, Blink? What should I be looking for when I go to these gyms if I'm new and I've never been to a gym before in my life? And my friend next door says, hey, you know what? Go to a gym, it'll help you with your back problems, it'll help you with this. Now where do I go? Where do I start?
I mean, as far as like equipment?
Yeah, equipment. Overall, like, maybe size, equipment, stuff like that, like more machines, more treadmills the better,
I think for me it's definitely equipment.
Equipment.
And for me it's having a good assortment of free weights, a few benches, definitely pull-up bars, pulley machines. Pulleys, yes, definitely pulleys. Machines I really use, so I would say those in the organization of where they are, because it'll be senseless if you have free weights here, and you have the pulleys all the way at the other end of the gym, and you have to walk across, and so I would say equipment in the organization, and then cleanliness, that's up to you, that stuff like that.
Right.
It's on your part.
And a good parking lot too, right?
Yeah.
So, what's your take on supplements? Do you take any yourself personally? Do you recommend any to people you train with?
I think supplements are supplements. They're there if you need them, if you think you need them, but not necessary if you're eating a proper diet. I don't take any supplements. Right now I'm not. I used to take whey, multivitamin once in a while, fish oil once in a while, but I haven't. It's been over like a month, like year, and yeah, like about a year. I haven't taken any protein.
And have you noticed any difference? No difference. No loss in strength, mass.
Nothing.
Wow.
I was so surprised.
So
I was scared. I was like, oh my god, I ran out of my protein. I'm gonna lose everything. But then a month passed, and I was like, okay, it's not bad. I'm still the same. And in 2 months, I was like, what, forget it. I'm not even gonna bother.
Nothing changed. You were fine.
No, still doing what I'm doing.
Only thing that changed was you kept more money in your pocket.
Yes, very much. That's it.
So, I guess this falls in line with supplements. What are your views on steroids and their use in, I guess, performance, bodybuilding, and whatnot?
Man. This stuff is not like a thing where I don't see steroids as being like bad, as in like, oh my god, no, he's on steroids. It's there. It's a performance enhancer. I mean, it's not ethical. It's bad if you use it to cheat.
Gotcha.
But if no one's being hurt in the process, and of course you're gonna hurt yourself if you're not doing it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see nothing wrong with it if you're using it just to enhance yourself, whether it's aesthetics, performance, and it's not affecting other people. That's my view on steroids.
So, like, to each his own. As long as you're not bothering anyone,
Exactly.
and he's responsible with it, then
Exactly. As long as you're controlling your roid rage, you know, not being a douchebag, or you know, you're not getting these wins in whatever sports you're doing with the steroids. By all means, I don't care.
awesome. Well, that about wraps it up. Do you have anything you'd like to add or say, or something critical you think we should mention to our viewers about exercise and fitness?
Yes. Keep things simple. You'll be surprised how just keeping things simple is so effective.
I like that.
So stick to that.
Awesome. And just like, explain your diet real quick. Because that's one of the beauties of the advice you've given me, is how simple it is. You know?
Yes.
So explain that, if you can go over that real quick.
Let's see if I could even like phrase this in one sentence about the diet. It's a natural diet. If it exists in nature, the ingredients are natural, it's game, you can eat it. So pretty much anything that's processed, that's packaged, you want to stay away from it. Just because you don't know what's in it, and most likely it's high glycemic, it's not good for you, yada yada yada, additives, things like that. So just keep things simple. Fruits, vegetables, meat, natural meat though, not like processed like
Hot dogs.
yeah, like pepperonis, and you want like fresh cuts of meat, things like that. Dairy, that's some people. That's up to you. Dairy, I like dairy, but some people they don't like the lactose in dairy. They can tolerate it, or they think that there's too much sugar. I eat dairy, but other than that, I think vegetables, fruits, meat, eggs, fish, nuts, grains in moderation, depending on what you're training for.
It's just as simple as that, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what you think of right now.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Tim. It's a pleasure. You know, you and I have been friends for a while, and
thank you for this interview. It was fun, believe it or not.
oh, most definitely. I got a chance to hang out with you again.